Students have frequently been rejected with no reason given. Interviewers have a list of terms to identify students who might work in potentially dangerous technologies. Not only words like biomedical engineering and neural networks, over 200 scientific and technical specialties alone, but now landscape architecture and housing and urban design. Indeed, almost anything can lead to a special security review. The result is a noticeable decrease in the number of international graduate students in the sciences, computer sciences, and engineering, who are going instead to England, India, and Australia. We are losing future leaders who could help us win the war on terrorism by taking our ideas and our way of life back to their countries. The Homeland Security Department has added foreign students to an FBI database designed to help police apprehend wanted criminals, allowing them to identify instantly foreign nationals who have violated student visas. Anytime a foreign student drops a course, gets a part-time job, goes on medical leave, or changes his or her address, perhaps even dorms, no one knows. Then the school has to report this. Consider what happened to a student at the Dearborn campus of the University of Michigan. She signed a school form in the foreign manner with the date before the month. On her immigration form, the month was before the date. An immigration service clerk put it there after questioning her. A government agent noted that the forms didn't match, even though the information was the same, and she was deported. The government has required colleges to deliver all online activity to law enforcement for approval daily. The FBI has visited thousands of college and public libraries seeking information about what people see, about what people read and what they see online. But it is more than libraries. On at least a dozen campuses, the FBI has included college police as members of terrorism task forces. At the University of Texas Law School, 2 Army intelligence agents claiming to be local lawyers, but carrying Army-issued green notebooks, asked for the names of persons attending a conference on women's issues in Muslim countries. Do you smell McCarthyism? My mind goes back to what happened at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in 2002. All 4,000 incoming freshmen were required to read in order to discuss in class the book approaching the Quran, the early revelations. 3 students sued to stop the discussions on the grounds that they amounted to state sponsorship of religion. 2 federal courts disagreed, and the discussions went off as scheduled. Nothing terrible happened, the school's chancellor said. There were no known conversions. Carolina's religion remains basketball. Privacy is more than one of our great buzzwords. Like a poem, a painting, or music, it is precious in itself. But the Bush administration repeatedly claimed that the Constitution does not protect a right of privacy. And the Obama administration is effectively continuing this approach. Apparently, we should just accept living in a digital fishbowl, with digital technology, the solvent, reaching the glue out of our rights. Hush, hush, sweet liberty. Starting with video cameras in public places by the umpteen tens of thousands in 37 states, 10,000 in Manhattan below Central Park by the end of this year. Ring of steel, the police commissioner proudly calls it. Often these will have facial recognition software, so don't do anything wrong. Also, don't say anything wrong, because the surveillance cameras might hear you. British researchers are trying to add an audio capability to the cameras that would alert an operator. The hope is to identify specific words or violent sounds. London has 1 million video cameras on the streets, and you can say, well, they need them. They have a lot of pubs there. But here, the cameras are continually proliferating, and not just to give us tickets for speeding or going through red lights. So far, at least, they are not linked into a centralized database. But we are well down the road towards everything we do outside being recorded and available forever. The digital fishbowl continues. Reporters are now using disposable cell phones to avoid exposing anonymous sources in case the calling records are secretly obtained. The administration has ended the domestic satellite surveillance of the Bush administration, but airports are still using retinal recognition so police can match the eyes against the criminal database. We all know the old saying that the eyes don't lie. But even iris scanners in an Army study were wrong 6% of the time. And the matches can be undone. You heard it here first, just by turning your head only an inch, or by varied lighting, wearing sunglasses, and even by contact lenses. The government will soon be able to peer into the sub-basement of a 10-story building and produce a kind of digital blueprint of the whole place. We've always had politicians who went after their opponents. Politics, despite what we hear loudly these days, is not a tea party. But do we want a friend or a relative arrested when at home or just walking down the street because a machine wrongly recognizes his or her eyes? But Big Brother ought to be politically correct. Perhaps I should say Big Sibling may not need a machine, for every cell phone made in the last 3 years records and stores our location. So we are carrying around with us our own self-tracking technology. Next month, the Supreme Court will hear a case posing the question whether the police need a search warrant to put a GPS device on a suspect's vehicle. The Fourth Amendment requires that warrants shall be issued only if there is probable cause and must describe the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. We are dealing here with fear, human nature, and technology, an explosive combination. And when you add to this a situation like Yasser Afifi's, this case could, we don't know yet, could mean the technological death of the Fourth Amendment. Shake your head about this, because now in 4 states, you can't smile when you go to the DMV and take the picture for your license. It's all for uniform facial recognition. Arkansas, Nevada, and Indiana allow grins, but in Virginia, you can't show your teeth, smile, and you can't drive. It's all part of a headlong rush towards a surveillance state built on fear, just like the military-industrial complex during the Cold War was based on fear of communists. Industries have sprung up and been propped up by billions of dollars of federal money. Spyware, concrete barriers, motion sensors, identity screening, they're all here to stay. History has shown that once new technologies are put into practice, they are seldom abandoned. We can't exercise our freedoms in the same way when we're being watched. We all need a space of our own. Civil liberties are central to our romance with America. Our rights and privileges are our glory and the envy of the world. But the horrors spawned in the well-intentioned but often misguided efforts to protect the nation have run into the very reason why the United States was created. Our legal system today is very different from the one we were taught about, where there are checks and balances, where one branch of government or one agency can't do everything on its own, and where people are given a fair hearing. I well remember standing among the hundreds of thousands of people, irrespective of occupation or political views, who stood on the sides of the tracks to see the train carrying Robert Kennedy's body from New York to Washington way back in 1968. Many were saluting, many more crying. In its humanity, That diversity came through in the hundreds of organizations on the left and the right, from the ACLU to the Gun Owners of America, that from 9/11 on have ignored other differences to join to defend the freedoms at the core of American life. Defeating terrorism is very separate from preserving our liberties. Deprive us of them, and any so-called victory will be as empty as a discharged rifle. If we limit our freedom, the enemy has won. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.